everyone, this is Kevin from Agents UX. I was recently asked to give a talk at an agency about AI and UX, and specifically the user experience kind of production workflow, right? Really how we get things done behind the scenes to create designs for our clients. So I just wanted to share a few of those thoughts with you. Let's take a look. All right, so while we're talking about how AI is impacting UX work, or really UX production work, how we're getting things done behind the scenes, I want to focus us on the second group. The things that really give us pause, that we're not fully, kind of bought into just yet, things that we're sort of paying attention to as they are evolving with AI. So the first grouping here is that AI does commit errors sometimes, whether you call it a hallucination or it's kind of filling in blanks and kind of inserting its own thing or not. These AI hallucinations or errors are really something that we have to stay on top of all the time. The first item here is that it's really essential to check the AI's work and correct problems. We've used AI for data analysis like early on, and we would feed it a data set and we would kind of have this like conversational sort of like pursuit of like insights and like what are the themes, what's the signal here that we really need to uncover. And we found that AI just kind of inserted new data into our data set. If we weren't on top of it, we could have easily just kind of like let that go. The idea here is that, every project is different, every task is different, but you need to like from the onset realize that errors are likely going to happen, and you need to set up checkpoints and systems in place so that your team are going to catch those errors quickly, so you don't spend too much effort or put too much sort of weight on what it's giving you. All right, secondly here, AI is a system where an expert must maintain responsibility for guiding that AI. And maintaining responsibility is the key here, right? It's not just having a kind of human in the loop from a systematic perspective. It's the idea that a human really needs to own the task. And if we think of AI as an assistant, it really is that supervisory role that ultimately, as a company, as a team, and even as a designer or a researcher, AI is really just helping you get your work done. It's really seductive to just kind of feed something in and AI kind of spit something out, and it's seductive to think like, okay, great, the task is done. It's not really done. There is that sense of ownership that you need to have so that even if it isn't an error in like a data set result, you know what's going on, you know what AI is doing, and you are also driving the steps, the process, right? Like, is more needed? Do we need to dig deeper? Do we need to, correct something, etc.? So humans definitely need to maintain that responsibility. And the last one here, we need to respect AI's limits and work within those, especially if we're doing critical work. So there's two ideas here. One is that AI has limits. I think we all kind of know that philosophically, but they are not very transparent. And it takes working with AI, different tools, doing different tasks with those tools, seeing the output, just different contexts, etc. Like, you need to build the reps to really kind of understand where is AI like really great, really strong with, that I can kind of trust it more, and where is it just a little less reliable? Where is the quality kind of like faltering a little bit? Where does it need more hand-holding than other times to kind of guide it to give me what I expect and want out of it? So it's knowing those limits is critical. And then the last piece of that is doing critical work. I think if we're to take a step back, it's easy to say like, well, everything is critical. Everything needs to be 100% accurate. But I think, if you've done, design or research work long enough, you know that there are points in the process where certain things are more important than others, right? There are certain points where we are making certain decision points, basing it on really important data. And then once we find that direction, it's going to impact significant sort of like pathway after that, right? So it's those kind of like critical junctures where we know we need to get things absolutely correct. And other times where, we want to be correct, we need to be, but, if something is a little bit off, it's not going to have a gigantic impact on the project. It's just understanding that, AI does have its limits, and we know that we want to kind of step in and make sure things are entirely correct when we really need it to be. The second one here is that there is some difficulty from a consumer or early adopter standpoint of really knowing the biases and the intentions of AI. We know that it's trained on large language models. It's trying to predict things. We've heard researchers at certain companies, quit their jobs or, write articles about how there are biases kind of baked into things that they don't agree with. So we know that certain things exist out there, and we just need to be cognizant of that. The first one is that AI has biases based on data sets that it's been trained on. That is how they are currently working for us, right? These large language models represent a huge amount of data that we humans have kind of put out there over years and years, over all these different domains. And I think that we just have to be cognizant that AI is not a neutral sort of like conveyor of that information. It is selectively choosing what information to promote, other information to ignore based on its algorithms and how it's just been designed. That is a form of bias. We just need to know that AI has those biases, and that when it gives us something, it's not quite neutral. There is some bias behind it. The next one here is that AI services have different goals than yours. I know that we as a UX design and research company have very specific use cases, different scenarios. We're trying to create the best work that we can for our clients. We're doing design work to create something totally new that no one's seen before. We're doing research. We want it to be quite rigorous, very scientific, as unbiased as possible, to sort of guide our good decision making. AI services and the tools, they just are built on different business models. At this time, I'd be hard pressed to say that ChatGPT has a vested interest in me coming up with great designs for my specific client. It has just different aims and goals and priorities. So I just need to be aware of that as I use it and other AI tools out there. AI is not responsible for creating good work. We are. I kind of touched on this, right? Ultimately, we are responsible for the work that we do. AI is just a tool. It has certain biases built into it, certain limitations. It doesn't owe me anything, right? We pay the monthly fee, right, for different services. But AI, has no contract with me that it needs to give me information that's going to help me create something that is novel, no one's ever seen before, is really going to satisfy my clients and their end users, in ways that no other, kind of product or design out there has. So I just need to be aware of that kind of responsibility or lack thereof. All right, and the last one here is that tools shape thought and design, right? We've known this for years. If you've got a design team with a design library, for example, and you think you're starting from a blank slate, like creating a new product, it's really easy to kind of pull in components and just kind of like start working in it. You'll notice that over time, your team tends to think of things in the same way, tends to design things in the same way, tends to adopt the same design patterns. So it's just the very tools that we use do shape what we create. AI is a thinking tool, and it's easy to defer to tools that just get things done. So there's two things here. As designers, a lot of our tools are helping us basically take our thoughts and articulate it. They're almost like communication tools. I have a thought for a new feature. My design tool helps me express that, helps me describe the experience that I want to create for the end users kind of like using that new tool. AI is very different because it's actually giving me thoughts, ideas, opinions, analyses, etc. It's actually helping me kind of evolve my thinking. And so that is a huge shift here, and we just need to be, aware that that kind of interplay and influence is actually happening. As humans, we really kind of gravitate toward things that just help us get things done quicker, easier, simpler. We are also creatures of habits. So if something works for us once, we're going to come back to it time and time again. We're going to write the same prompts. We're going to ask the same sort of questions. We're going to expect similar results each time. We just need to be aware that AI is a kind of seductive path, right, for us to refine our thinking and use it to get to an endpoint, and we just need to be aware of that. And then lastly here is that AI is a tool that's marketed like a partner. It isn't. And, if we look at different sort of like AI tools that are out there, it's going to be embedded in almost any design, research, even like productivity tool out there. It's always couched in this position of it is your assistant. It is the junior writer and you're the senior copywriter. It's going to suggest things, but you're really, in charge of it. It is your co-pilot. It is your fill in the blank. AI really isn't a partner. For all the reasons that I've covered, previously, AI is a tool. It is an assistant. It has great abilities that we haven't seen in other tools before. We can't really relinquish sort of our sense of responsibility, our sense of ownership, our sense of ability to kind of get the best work by seeing it as an equal partner. It is definitely a assistant that we should use. We just need to be aware of, that kind of like hierarchy that we need to maintain with it. And that is, through no fault of any kind of like marketing team or campaign that's out there. The marketing is very effective. It's worked on us. We are thankful and heavy users of AI where we feel it adds value and we can rely on it. And we know that the AI landscape is ever evolving and always changing. So stay tuned as we continue to share how AI helps impact the work that we do. Thanks a lot for listening. Take care.